Aloha and welcome to this week's Travel Talk Show. I'm very excited to be heading out on a virtual journey to the beautiful island destination of Hawaii. I hope everyone had a wonderful week, and we are so glad that you have joined us this afternoon. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We will take questions, but we will take them at the end of the presentation. However, if you think of something along the way that you would like to ask in your menu bar, so your menu bar may be at the bottom of your screen, maybe at the side of your screen, and you can click on it and drag it around if it's kind of in the way, wherever it is. That in that menu bar, it has a Q&A button. If you click on the Q&A button, you can type in a question, and at the end, we'll read off the questions and answer them. If you want to just say hi to everybody or have a little comment or something along the way, then you can do that in the chat. So there is another little button that says chat. If you click on that, that is where you can chat. If you have something you just want to just say to us, ask us quickly, you know, see something, thought of something, you can put that in the chat just to the presenters. If you have something you just want to say hello to everybody else out there watching, you can do it to presenters and attendees. So you just change that little toggle to say presenters and attendees, and then everybody will get to see that. Also at the end, when we open up for questions, if you want to actually come on and say hi and talk, you can there's a little button to raise your hand. You can raise your hand and we will then open up your microphone and you can talk and not hear me talk. By that point, you'll be sick of hearing me talk. So let's get started. A little bit about who we are. We are the Women's Travel Club, and we do small group tours for women worldwide. Most members join us as solo travelers, but quickly make some great travel friends. If you're coming solo, but you want to take advantage of the double occupancy rate, we will match you with a roommate, so you can do that. Our groups are very small group, only up to a maximum of 16 and sometimes even less depending on logistics of the particular tour. And our tours are developed to focus on amazing experiences in fantastic destinations. I am Marianne Southall. I am in charge of the marketing department, and I am also joined by Irene Murray, who is from operations. She is who usually answers our phone and our chat, so there's a good chance that you have talked to or connected with Irene previously. And I am also joined by Debbie Grew, who is in charge of the tour department. So Debbie is who puts together all these tours and runs all the behind the scenes logistics for all the tours. So hi, Debbie and Irene, thank you for joining us. And hello to everybody else out there. So Hawaii is a state in the U.S. Pacific Ocean, and it's about 2,000 miles from the U.S. mainland. It is the only state outside of North America, the only state comprised entirely of islands, and the only state in the tropics. Aloha, welcome to the Hawaiian Islands. Floating all by itself in the middle of the Pacific, Hawaii proudly maintains its own distinct identity apart from the U.S. mainland. Hawaii might be part of the U.S., but the scenery, vibe, history, and culture on these stunning islands makes the 50th state seem more like a distant cousin a couple times removed. The Hawaiian Islands are beautiful, heavenly, peaceful islands that have one of the world's most active volcanoes and the Earth's tallest sea mountain. Pretty much everything here feels easygoing, low-key, casual, bursting with genuine aloha and fun. Hawaii is renowned for its natural beauty, but the culture and heritage of the islands are equally enticing and waiting to be explored. It's the birthplace of surfing, hula dancing, and the Hawaiian regional cuisine, which is a fusion of Hawaii's ethnic flavors and international gastronomy. The state is made up of a chain of 8 islands that all have their own unique personality and different attractions. Famous for its rich plant life, that is the result of millions of years of isolation and remoteness, there are over 3,000 plants, including ferns, trees, and flowers that cannot be found elsewhere in the world. Hawaii and its surrounding waters are home to very diverse marine life. There are over 600 species of exotic and colorful fish, many of which are not found elsewhere in the world. The land area of the state of Hawaii consists of the tops of a chain of emerged volcanic mountains that form 8 major islands and 124 islets, stretching in a 1,500-mile crescent from Kure Island to the west to the island of Hawaii in the east. The 8 major islands at the eastern end of the chain are from west to east: Nihao, Kauai, Oahu, Molokai, Lanai, Kahalavi, and Maui, and Hawaii. Let's take a look at each of the major islands and see what makes them wonderful. Let's start in Nihao. A privately owned island with an estimated 170 residents, Nihao, commonly referred to as Hawaii's Forbidden Island, is an invite-only destination that tantalizes travelers from across the globe due to its extreme exclusivity. Situated approximately 18 miles northwest of Kauai, Nihao extends 5 miles and has been privately owned for more than 150 years. While Hawaii's Forbidden Island remains closed to the public, the reason might come as a surprise. A hint, it's not because you have to be rich and famous to visit the island. Quite contrary, Nihu's owners are upholding a promise made to a former Hawaiian king to protect the island from the outside world and to maintain the island's beloved Hawaiian heritage. There are various myths and legends as to why Nihao named the Forbidden Island, the most popular being that you have to be invited by the Robinsons in order to visit. Though this is presently true, this wasn't the case when the name was originally construed. During the polio epidemic in the Hawaiian Islands in 1952, Nihao became known as the Forbidden Island since you had to have a doctor's note in order to prevent the spread of polio. If you're a bit worried that you aren't on the Robinsons guest list, there are other ways that you can visit Nihao. One is Nihao's Helicopters, which offers exclusive excursions to the Forbidden Island on executive class twin-engine helicopters. Pilots provide a historical background of the island, and guests are allowed to wander its secluded beaches, sunbathing, looking for shells, and gazing upon beloved monk seals. Next, we go right next door and have a look at Kauai, Hawaii's 4th largest island. Kauai is sometimes called the Garden Island, which is an entirely accurate description. The oldest and northernmost island in Hawaii, the Hawaiian chain, is draped in emerald valleys, sharp mountain spires, jagged cliffs aged by time and the elements. Centuries of growth have formed tropical rainforests, forking rivers, and cascading waterfalls. Some parts of Kauai are only accessible by sea or air, revealing views beyond your imagination. Spanning 17 miles along Kauai's north shore, the Molokai Coast is a sacred place defined by extraordinary natural beauty. These emerald-hued cliffs with razor-sharp ridges tower above the Pacific Ocean, revealing beautiful beaches and waterfalls that plummet to the lush valley floor. The rugged terrain appears much as it did centuries ago, when Hawaiian settlement flourished in these deep, narrow valleys, existing only on the food they could grow and the fish they could catch. There are many ways to explore the Molokai Coast, but the safest access and the best views are found by sea or by air. Boat tours depart from Port Allen on the west side, and during the summer months, guided kayaking trips bring you up close to the soaring cathedral cliffs. When conditions are right, raft tours are available to guide you to hidden sea caves and remote beaches. Not to be outdone by the famous beaches that ring the island, Kauai's lush landscapes are a feast for the senses. Whether it's a leisurely horseback ride to a remote waterfall or an exhilarating zipline adventure through the jungle, the Garden Isle is a true adventurer's playground. Hiking is one of the best ways to discover the island, as 90% of Kauai is inaccessible by car. Lace up your hiking boots and explore Coqui State Park and Waimea Canyon on the west side, with hundreds of trails and breathtaking vistas waiting around every turn. Waimea Canyon is described as the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. Although not as big or as old as its Arizona cousin, you won't encounter anything like this geological wonder. Stretching 14 miles long, 1 mile wide, and more than 3,600 feet deep, the Waimea Canyon Lookout provides panoramic views of crested buttes, ragged crags, and deep valley gorges. The grand inland vistas go on for miles. The Hawaiian Islands are famous for hula dancing. On its surface, hula is the storytelling dance of the Hawaiian Islands. As with all Hawaiian culture, when you are fortunate enough to learn more about it, much deeper, more powerful, and empowering truths may be revealed. Hula can be paired with chants or contemporary music, slow and sentimental in tempo, or fast and energetic. But no matter its style, it's all part of a cultural practice of sharing a trove of stories that connect dancers and audiences to the foundation of Hawaiian ancestral knowledge. Hula animates history, genealogy, prophecy, and the tales of those who came before. As we continue down the chain of islands, our next stop is Oahu, the heart of Hawaii. Sometimes called the gathering place, Oahu certainly lives up to its name. The third largest Hawaiian island is home to the majority of Hawaii's diverse population, a fusion of East and West cultures rooted in the values and traditions of the native Hawaiian people. It's this fundamental contrast between the ancient and the modern that makes discovering Oahu, from its bustling city life to its laid-back surf towns, so enjoyable. You'll find plenty of different options for exploring Oahu's different regions, the island's many activities, its eclectic restaurants and accommodations. Oahu's beaches are a true taste of paradise. Whether you're looking for high adventure on the sea, gentle waves for your first surfing lesson, a romantic sunset view, or a family-friendly swimming spot. Of course, with world-class beaches, you get a great selection of water activities, including swimming, snorkeling, scuba, parasailing, and surfing. Visitors to Oahu will discover a blend of East and West cultures, with strong roots in the traditions of the native Hawaiian people. Oahu is made up of 5 regions: the state capital and cosmopolitan city of Honolulu, the Windward Coast with its lush mountains and pristine beaches, Central Oahu, home to historic Pearl Harbor, sunny Leeward Coast filled with rural towns and remote beaches, and the North Shore, popular with its professional surf competitions. Let's have a look at some of the sights of Oahu. The iconic silhouette of Diamond Head State Monument sits along the Honolulu skyline, just beyond Waikiki. This 760-foot crater is one of Hawaii's most famous landmarks. Known as Lehigh, Brow of the Tuna in Hawaiian, the crater was named Diamond Head by the 19th century British sailors who thought they discovered diamonds on the crater's slopes. These diamonds were actually shiny calcite crystals that had no value. Formed more than 100,000 years ago, the crater was used as a strategic military lookout beginning in the early 1900s and was named a National Natural Landmark in 1968. Today, Diamond Head is a popular hiking destination with panoramic views of Waikiki and Oahu's South Shore. Oahu has a rich history. It was the home of the Hawaiian monarchy, the birthplace of modern and big wave surfing, the stage for the overthrow of the Hawaiian kingdom, and the tipping point that led to the United States involvement in World War II. Those are just the grand highlights of Oahu Visit Paths, with offering rich stories for visitors who crave a deeper experience of this incredible island. There are a few museums of note. The British Museum, founded in 1889, the Bernice Pauahi Bishop Museum is the premier natural and cultural history institution in the Pacific region, housing more than 24 million cultural and natural treasures from Hawaii and Polynesia. Hana Akama Alama, or the Queen Emma's Summer Palace, is a summer retreat of Queen Emma, wife of King Kamehameha IV, which houses a collection of the Queen's personal belongings and furnishings. The National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific. The history of the United States military in Hawaii reaches back to the late 1800s. Also called Punch Bowl for its location inside a crater, the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific was established in 1949 as a final resting place for those who served in the armed forces. Washington Place. This historic home, named for President George Washington, was the center of critical events that changed the course of Hawaii. It was the home and prison of Queen Liliuokalani, who later served as the residence of Hawaii's governors. And the pictured Pearl Harbor National Museum. The USS Arizona Memorial at Pearl Harbor in Honolulu marks the resting place of 1,102 of the 1,177 sailors and Marines killed on the USS Arizona during the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, and commemorates the events of that day. Another unique and popular attraction is the Dole Plantation. Originally opened as a fruit stand in 1950, Dole Plantation opened to the public as Hawaii's Pineapple Experience in 1989. Today, Dole Plantation is one of Oahu's most popular visitor attractions and welcomes more than 1 million visitors a year. Dole Plantation provides enjoyable activities for the entire family, including the Pineapple Express train tour, the Plantation Garden tour, and the Pineapple Garden Maze. Also popular are informational displays and presentations, as well as their Plantation Country store, offering a wide variety of Dole Plantation gifts, local favorites, food, and refreshments, including the very delicious and world-famous Dole Whip. And before you leave, you can purchase a fresh pineapple to take home with you, or back to the hotel. Of course, while in Hawaii, a luau is a must-do. A great place to learn more about the culture of Hawaii and experience a luau is the Polynesian Cultural Center. Spend the day exploring the rich heritage of the Pacific Islands. Wander through 42 acres of tropical splendor and enjoy the adventure of traditional hands-on activities. Then dine like royalty on an authentic Polynesian luau and top it off with some of the most spectacular evening show on the islands. Hawaii is also an amazing golf destination, and Oahu is one of the best islands for golf. The Kualahu Mountains tower over your sightline. Palm trees line the green. The white of your ball pops against the deep blue sky. Even a bad game of golf in Oahu is still pretty darn good. With more golf courses than any other island, golfers at every skill level from around the world head to Oahu. Choose from 40 public and private courses, ranging from casual municipal courses to elegant resort courses. Spectacular scenery awaits you no matter which course you choose. Or, if you prefer to watch the pros play, Oahu hosts the PGA Tour's Sony Open at the Waialea Country Club every January. Our next island we're going to visit is Molokai. Hawaii's fifth largest island, Molokai, is only 38 miles long and 10 miles across at its widest point. and is home to the highest sea cliffs in the world and the longest continuing fringing reef. Molokai remains true to its island roots, with a high percentage of its population being of native Hawaiian ancestry, who continue to preserve their rural lifestyle thanks to their love of the land. Molokai is known for two major landmarks. Papa National Park and Papahaku Beach. Today, the serene Papa National Historical Park is a place of preservation and education and is only accessible by mule ride, hiking tour, or airplane. Ride your mule along the 2.9-mile trail to Papa Peninsula. The sheer cliffs overlook the Pacific, descending from 1,700 feet to Molokai's North Shore Pali just to the east, the tallest sea cliffs in the world as recorded by the Guinness Book of World Records, measuring 3,600 to 3,900 feet. If you're a beach lover, you're going to want to visit Papahaku Beach, also known as 3 Mile Beach. Discover 3 miles of soft sands uninterrupted down Molokai's west end, one of Hawaii's largest white sand beaches at about 100 yards wide. There's plenty of room to spread out and enjoy the friendly island ambiance. And just a little bit south of Molokai is Lanai, the smallest inhabited island travelers may want to visit. If you're longing for a true tropical escape, you'll find seclusion, romance, and beauty on the beaches of Lanai. The island has 18 miles of coastline dotted with remote beaches where you can sink your toes into the soft white sand and gaze out at rolling blue waves. Only 9 miles from Maui, yet a world away, Lanai can feel like two places. The first is found in luxurious resorts where visitors can indulge in world-class amenities and championship-level golf. The other is found bouncing along the island's rugged back roads in a 4-wheel drive vehicle to explore the off-the-beaten-path treasures. Hula Beach is a sweeping crescent-shaped beach located on the southern coast in the Hula Bay, and a great spot for I'm losing it.
You're doing well.
Okay, here, back. Great spot for turtles and spinner dolphins. With fantastic snorkeling in the crystalline water, large tide pools to explore, and Pu'ape'e just a short hike away, this is the Lanai's most popular and accessible beach. 150 feet off the southern coastline between Manale and Hulapoe Bays, the iconic Pu'ape'e rises majestically 80 feet out of the water. Besides being a picturesque natural landmark, Pu'ape'e is steeped in Hawaiian folklore. Legend tells of two lovers, a Hawaiian maiden named Pehe from Lahaina and a young warrior from Lanai named Koho. He was so taken with her beauty that whenever he laid eyes upon her, they would mist up in tears. Hence his name, Makaka, eyes, and Koho, mist. He took her back to Lanai and hid her in the sea cave at the base of Manale's cliffs. One day, while gathering supplies, he noticed a storm brewing and started back, only to find Pehe drowned by the surge of the storm waves. Stricken with grief, Makahoho gathered his beloved in his arms. He wailed out to the gods and his ancestors to help him climb the steep rock island where he eventually buried her. He then jumped from this 80-foot summit into the pounding surf below. Now on to the largest island, Maui, or second largest island, Maui, with its world famous beaches. Also known as the Valley Isle, Maui is beloved for its world-famous beaches, the sacred Luau Valley, views of migrating humpback whales during the winter months, farm-to-table cuisine, and the magnificent sunrise and sunset from Hilo. It's not surprising Maui has been voted best island in the U.S. by Condé Nast Traveler readers for more than 20 years. Like so many of the islands, Maui is known for its spectacular beaches. With 120 miles of coastline, Maui boasts over 30 miles of beautiful beaches. On these world-famous shores, you'll find white, black, and red sand beaches, renowned surfing and windsurfing spots, as well as some of the best beaches in the world to simply swim, snorkel, and sunbathe. Many of these are easily accessible beach parks with lifeguards, picnic facilities, and restrooms. Others are undeveloped secret spots found off the beaten path. Surfing was born in Hawaii and is deeply entwined within its history and culture. If you dream of riding the waves, there's no better place to learn to surf and truly commune with the ocean. The earliest written account of surfing was by Lieutenant James King in 1779, just months after Captain Cook's death. He described native Hawaiians riding a wood plank on the swells of Kealakeakua Bay on the island of Hawaii. Even he could see how fun the sport was. Writing, they seemed to feel a great pleasure in the motion that this exercise gives. Surfing is believed to have originated long ago in ancient Polynesia, but later thrived in Hawaii. It was once a sport only reserved for Hawaiian royalty, which is why surfing is often called the sport of kings. With the end of the Hawaiian taboo system in 1819, commoners were allowed to freely participate in the sport. During the 1900s, surfing was revitalized on Waikiki. During this era, Duke Kahanamoku, who grew up surfing on the South Shore waves, was a Waikiki beach boy who taught visitors how to surf and canoe. Duke later won multiple Olympic gold medals for swimming and eventually became known as the father of modern surfing. Today, a bronze statue of Duke welcomes visitors to Waikiki, where first-time surfers are still catching their first waves. Kualavi is located about 7 miles southwest of Maui. The smallest of the 8 main Hawaiian islands, Kualavi is surrounded by and its surrounding waters are off limits to the public. Your only way ashore is through volunteer work opportunities offered throughout the year. Considered uninhabitable due to its diminutive size, a mere 44.6 square miles, and lack of fresh water, Kualavi became a training ground and bombing range for the U.S. military after World War II. In 1990, following decades of protests, these live-fired exercises ended. The military formally transferred control of Kualavi to the state of Hawaii in 1994. Let's have a look at some of the marine life of Hawaii. While people watching on the Hawaiian Islands is certainly interesting, it can't compare to the excitement of spotting the colorful underwater residents. From yellow butterfly fish that dart among the rocks to benevolent green sea turtles, it's easy to see these fascinating locals while snorkeling, scuba diving, swimming, or even sometimes from shore. This guy is an Hawaiian green sea turtle. These gentle creatures are among Hawaii's most beloved. If you're snorkeling, they'll coast on by as if they've known you all their lives. Because these are a protected species, it's important not to touch the honu. On Oahu, the turtles are frequently seen on several North Shore beaches. On the island of Hawaii, you can often spot them swimming along the Kona coast or resting on the sands of Punaluu Black Sand Beach. Much like visitors to Lanai, honu seem like to sun themselves on the beach on the north side of the island. Spinner dolphins are common throughout Hawaii, and pods of these acrobatic marine animals can often be seen off of Molokai Bay on Lanai, off the Kona coast on the island of Hawaii, or on Oahu off of the Hawaiian Coast or the Mauna Loa Bay. Spinner dolphins are aptly named for their affinity to spin as they leap out of the water. Seeing these playful animals ride in the wake of your boat is an unforgettable yet not uncommon experience. If you're in Hawaii between late November and early May, keep your eye on the coastline for waterspouts. Every winter, thousands of humpback whales migrate to the warm Pacific waters to breed and nurse their calves. One of the best vantage points for whale watching on Oahu is from the scenic Makapu'u Lighthouse Trail, or embark on one of the many whale watching excursions available. Hawaii's abundant waters are home to a variety of fish. In fact, roughly 20% of fish species in Hawaii are unique to the islands. From the banded angelfish to Hawaii's state fish. Okay, get this. The huma nuku apua, which ironically is not endemic, yet very hard to say. Snorkelers and divers will be richly rewarded for their exploration. The clear, calm waters off the Kona coast on the island of Hawaii, Hulapua Bay on Lanai, and spots like Shark's Cove on the north shore of Oahu are great locations to see fish in their native habitats. The Hawaiian monk seal is on the federal endangered list, and according to some sources, there are only about 1,100 left in the wild. If you think their faces are puppy-like, you're in good company. Their Hawaiian name is Iliaholo Aikauahu, or dog that runs in rough water. The Waikiki Aquarium in Oahu is home to a popular pair of monk seals. The mysterious manta ray is one of the largest fish in the ocean, with wingspans up to 20 feet or more. But unlike stingrays or eagle rays, mantas do not have stingers. The island of Hawaii's Kona's coast is the best place to spot friendly manta rays at night. You can see them attracted to the spotlights in the waters off the resorts of Keauhou Bay, or get up close and personal. Book a manta ray boat tour to snorkel or scuba with manta rays. This is one of the most memorable adventures you can experience on Hawaiian Island. Finally, we visit the largest and youngest of the Hawaiian Islands, the island of Hawaii, or the Big Island. Nearly twice as big as all the other Hawaiian islands combined, hence its nickname, the Big Island, its sheer size is awe-inspiring. You can travel through all four of the world's different climate zones here, ranging from wet tropical to polar tundra, a result of the shielding effects and elevations of the massive volcanoes, Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa. Let's have a look at some key sites around the island. Experience some of nature's most awe-inspiring wonders at Hawaii's Volcanoes National Park. It's located just 45 miles southwest of Hilo. The park is home to two volcanoes, including Kilauea, one of the most active volcanoes on Earth. The chance to witness the primal process of creation and destruction makes it one of the most popular visitor attractions in Hawaii and a sacred place. Hawaii Volcanoes National Park encompasses just over 335,000 acres, or about 523 square miles, from the summit of Mauna Loa to the sea. Discover the 150 miles of hiking trails through volcanic craters, scalded deserts and rainforests, as well as a visitor center, petroglyphs, and two active volcanoes, Mauna Loa, which last erupted in 1984, and Kauai, which last erupted in 2018. 45 minutes away, we come to Hilo. Located on the northeastern side of the island of Hawaii, Hilo offers breathtaking natural beauty, plus all the amenities of a vibrant town. On the geographic flip side of the volcanic Hamakua Coast, The region is blessed with dramatic waterfalls, fertile rainforests, and blooming gardens. A busy farming and fishing area, in early times, Hilo evolved into a commercial center for the sugar industry in the 1800s. Downtown Hilo was built around its crescent-shaped bay and became the seat of county government. Today, downtown Hilo is a charming town offering museums, art galleries, shops, and restaurants. Discover the area's fascinating history at the Lyman Museum. Learn about the terrifying tsunamis that nearly swallowed Hilo at the Pacific Tsunami Museum, or head to the newly built Ilmailoa Astronomy Center, a world-class attraction housed in 3 striking titanium cones, representing the 3 tallest mountains on the island of Hawaii. Located just north of Hilo, on the western side of the island of Hawaii, Hamakua Coast is one of the most beautiful stretches of scenery on the island. With nearly 84 inches of rainfall a year, the region boasts lush tropical rainforests, stunning waterfalls, and tranquil green valleys. During most of the 19th and 20th centuries, this coast was covered with sugarcane. Today, communities can still be found where small farmers grow kalo, hearts of palm, vegetables, and tropical fruits. Small towns like historic Honoka Town also feature specialty shops and boutiques with their own local flavor. Have you ever seen black sand on a beach? Because of constant volcanic activity, you'll find white sands and black sands on the island of Hawaii. Located on the southeastern Kauai coast, Punalua Black Sand Beach is one of the most famous black sand beaches in Hawaii. Coconut palms fringe the upper edge of the sand, and you may also discover large hanu, which is the Hawaiian green sea turtles, basking on the beach. Weather in the Hawaiian Islands is very consistent, with only minor changes in temperature throughout the year. There are really only 2 seasons in Hawaii, summer from May to October and winter from November to April. The average daytime temperature at sea level is 85 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 29.4 degrees Celsius, while the average daytime winter temperature is 78 degrees, or about 25.6 degrees Celsius. Temperatures at night are about 10 degrees Fahrenheit lower than daytime. The wettest months are from November to March, but winter rains do not generally disrupt vacation plans since the weather is very localized. This means if it's raining where you are, it's almost always a sunny spot to be found around the coast. If you're inspired to visit this beautiful destination, the Women's Travel Club does have a great Hawaii tour coming up in 2022. We start in Oahu and tour the island for a few days, including a day at the Polynesian Cultural Center, and then we cruise the other islands for 7 days. This is a really great way to see a lot of Hawaii in one trip.